This is the Algebra 1, Unit 4 test review. And this is part 2. So if you missed the first part, you can go back and look at it. It goes through questions 1 through 12. So this is part 2, and we're going to do questions 13 to the end. So part 2. Okay, so let's take a look. It says, what is the solution to the system of equations below? So when you have a graph, when you're given a graph like this, it's easy to find the solution. We just find where the two lines intersect. And they intersect right there at that point, so we want to find out the coordinate pair. So we're going to do x, comma, y. So x is -3, and y is -1. And that's our solution. Number 14, adult movie tickets cost $8.25 and kids tickets cost $5.50. At a particular movie theater, there were 125 tickets sold, and it was $893.75. How much of each ticket type were sold? So we're going to write let statements. So we're going to let x equal, how about we let x equal the adult tickets, and we'll let y equal the number of children's tickets. And so we've got two things going on here in this question. We have the number of tickets that were sold, and we have the amount of money that they spent, or that was collected for the tickets. So we want to do an equation for each type. So for the number of tickets sold, if x is the number of adult tickets and y is the number of children's tickets, then x plus y equals 125. For the money, we know that adult tickets cost $8.25, so $8.25 x plus $5.50 y equals $893.75. Now it says solve to determine how many of each type of ticket were sold. So personally on this one, when we have an x and a y by itself, I like to use elimination. That's one of my favorite methods. So I'm going to take this top equation, I'm going to multiply it times -550. And when I do that, I'm going to end up with minus 550x minus 550y. And then when I multiply that times 125, I'm going to get -687.50. So now I can take those two equations and I can combine them. So we end up with 275x. These cancel out, equals 206.25. Now we're going to divide each side by 275. And x equals 75. So I know that 75 adult tickets were sold. So let's go ahead and plug that into our equation. We had x plus y equals 125. So I'm going to take 75 plus y equals 125. Subtract the 75. And we find out y equals 50. So there were 50 children's tickets sold. So we have 75, 50. This is adults, this is children. Bam! Okay, let's look at number 15. Okay, number 15, it says, what is the solution to this system of inequalities represented by line A and line B? So if you look at this, we're just looking at pictures of the table from our calculator. And if we want to know what is the solution, we need to find the point where the same x and the same y show up for both. So let's look here. -1, -2 doesn't show up for both. The 0, 0 doesn't show up for both. 2, 4 doesn't, because this says 2, 5. And so we have 4, 8, 4, 8, and that's the solution. Number 16, a restaurant owner bought 24 new tables. Some are large and some are small. The large tables cost $145 each and the small tables are $120. He spent $3,080. How many large tables did he buy? Define the variables, write the system that could be used. You do not need to solve this one. So all we're doing is setting it up. So let's write our let statements. Let x equal, let y equal. Why don't you try and set this up without my help? Hit pause, then you can come back and see if you got it right. Okay, so I said let x equal the number of large tables, y is equal to the number of small tables. So he bought 24 tables total, so we do x plus y equals 24. And then large tables cost 145, small tables cost 120, and he spent $3,080. So 145 times x, 120 times y equals 3,080. This first equation deals with the number of tables, and the second equation deals with the cost of the tables. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, on number 17, I don't want you to get freaked out by this question. Just read it. It's really very simple. It says, in this system of equations, and we have two equations here, 3x minus 2y equals 12, and y equals negative 5 over 3x plus 7. It says, which expression can be correctly substituted for y in this equation? So let's think about what they're saying here. I'm going to erase all this. They're saying, take this equation, and we want to substitute for y. Well, if I want to substitute for y, I have to know what y equals. Well, it tells me what y equals right here. Y equals negative 5 over 3x plus 7. So this is what we want to substitute for y. So we look down here and find the one that says negative 5 over 3x plus 7, and there it is, letter B. Bam, that one's done. Okay, the perimeter of a rectangular volleyball court is 180 feet. The court's width, W, is half of its length. Which system of linear equations could be used to determine the dimensions in the volleyball court? So remember, for perimeter questions, we're always going to start with 2 lengths plus 2 widths equals the perimeter. So we know that 2L plus 2W needs to equal 180. So we can cross out this letter A because it only has 1 L. And same with letter C. It only has 1 L and 1 W. So we know that's not right. Now, let's see what it says. The width is half the length. So when you see something is, W equals half the length. So we want to take 1/2 times the length. The width is half the length. So which one's going to be the right answer? It's going to be B. Because there's our 2L plus 2W equals 180. And W, the width is 1/2 the length. W equals 1/2 L. Okay, let's go on to number 19. Okay, on number 19 it says some students want to order some t-shirts for homecoming. One company charges $9.65 per shirt plus a setup fee of $43. Another company charges $8.40 per shirt and a $58 fee. Define your variables, write a system of equations that can be used to solve this problem. Well, the variables have already been defined for us. X is the number of shirts and Y is the total cost of the shirts. So let's go ahead and write our equations. So anytime you see something that says per, that's going to be your slope. Okay, $9.65 per shirt plus $43. So the first company is going to be $9.65 X plus 43. And then the second one, we'll write Y equals. And then Y equals $8.40 X plus 58. Now, it says solve your system of equations to figure out what the cost would be the same. So this is an easy one to do because they're already both solved for Y. How nice. They're both solved for y. So we can put one equation into y1, put the other one into y2, then you're going to hit graph, and then you're going to do second, trace, number 5, and then enter, enter, enter. And you'll find the intersection point, and when you do that, you're going to find out that we get 12, comma, 158.80. Now it says, what number of shirts will it cost the same? So remember, X is the shirts, Y is the cost. So bam, there it is. The letter B, 12 shirts. Okay, let's look at number 20. I think you ought to try and do number 20 without my help. Go ahead and hit pause and read the question and figure out your answer. Okay, well, I hope you've circled letter D. And let's see why. If P is pink pencils and B is blue pencils, and they sold 32 pencils total, then P plus B equals 32. And then the pink ones cost $1.50, the other one, the blue ones cost $2, and they spent $51. So $1.50 times the pink plus $2 times the blue equals $51. So that's letter D. Okay, so number 21. Kelly will enclose her rectangular tomato garden with 32 feet of fencing. Anytime you see the word fence, we're talking about perimeter. And we know that's a perimeter question. Okay, the length of the garden is 4 feet less than 3 times the width. Find the length and width of the garden. Define the variables. Write a system of equations. So to define the variables, we're going to use let statements. So let's let x equal the width and y equal the length. Now if you want, I'll tell you what, just for grins, how about we make w equal the width and L equal the length instead of x and y. So we always start our perimeter questions the same way. 2L plus 2W equals the perimeter, and in this case the perimeter is 32. That's how much fencing you need. Now let's look at the relationship between the length of the garden and the width. It says the length of the garden is, that's L equals 4 feet less than 3 times the width. So anytime you see the word less than, it comes after what was said. So we're going to say 3 times the width minus 4. That's 4 less than 3 times the width. You can kind of read it backwards. 4 less than 3 times the width. Okay, now it says to solve it. Well, since we know that L equals 3W minus 4, how about we use substitution? So we're going to do 2, and instead of L, we're going to put in 3W minus 4 plus 2W equals 32. So we have 6W minus 8. And 6W plus 2W is 8W. Now I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So I have 8W equals 40. Divide by 8, and the width equals 5. Now remember, the length is 3 times the width minus 4. So 3 times 4, L equals 3 times 5 minus 4. 15 minus 4, so the length equals 11. And there you go. Okay, we're down to our last one. Okay, now on number 22, I'm pretty sure if you want to get a right answer on this, we're going to have to take this plus sign out right here and put a minus sign there. I think there's a typo on this. So our equation should read negative 3y is equal to negative 2x, and the other one is 2y equals negative x minus 7. Now, in order to look at these graphs and figure out which one's which, we need to solve these equations for y. We want them to say y equals. So let's look at this one right here. We'll start with this one. There's no x to move over because it's already over there, so all we have to do is divide by -3. So we get y equals a negative divided by a negative is positive 2/3 x. So think about this. There's no plus or minus over here on the y-intercept, so that means it's going to go through the origin. So we want to have a line that has 2/3 x and goes through the origin. So let's look at the letter F. Does this one have 2/3? This is the rise over run. So I'm going to pick a point right here and go 2/3. 2/3. Okay, well that's wrong, because this one looks like it has 3/2 slope, not 2/3. So that one's wrong. Letter H has negative slope. That's wrong. This one goes through the origin. It has negative slope, so it's wrong. It's got to be J. So 2/3, whoops, let's try that again. 2/3, so there's your slope. It's going through the origin. Now let's look at the other equation just to prove that it's the right one. So we have 2y equals -x minus 7. So we're going to divide everything by 2. And when there's no number in front of the x, there's a 1 there. So that's going to be y equals -1/2x minus 3.5. So here we are at minus 3.5, and we have slope of 1/2. Let's look here. 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. So it's the right slope. So there's letter J. And that's your review. Now, guys, I promise you, if you know how to do this review, you should be able to do really well on the test, because the questions are very much the same. Okay? So if you're not sure about some things, do them again. Come in for tutoring if you need. Okay? So good luck.